When our party holds its meetings, there are questions from the floor. The agenda full of emotions and amendments by the score. And the first thing for discussion, even as the chairman sits, is the missing party funds and the present party splits. For the party's constitution isn't too explicit, whether voting for the chairman is utter virus or illicit. First, the spokesman from the left who seeks to clarify why the party chest that brimming well has suddenly gone dry. And for them who didn't pay their subs, and especially them who did, are astounded to discover that it only holds a quid. And the monies that was voted to buy new football gear have strangely evaporated in the current fiscal year. And likewise, Comrade Chairman, that special sum of cash that somehow went and disappeared just before the Christmas bash. Oh, the hinting and the squinting and the subtle innuendo, and the money mentioned causing tension or rising to crescendo. Oh, the mouthing and the spouting and the stern pontification and the sabre rattle tittle tattle when the Irish are debating. I resent these accusations, the Treasurer now speaks. The mice were gnawing on that chest for nigh and 20 weeks. And when I proposed the purchase of a mousetrap for the shelf, the most vehement objector was your own cheese paring self. And as for that first subvention to buy the football togs, 'twas your own ad hoc committee that went and blew it on the dogs. And likewise with the Christmas fund that somehow went amiss, 'twas purling by our local sec when he was on the piss. Oh, the malice, oh so callous as to start into insulting. Oh, the scandals, oh, the vandals, and the ructions thus resulted. Oh, the sneering and the jeering and the vicious imprecation, and the scheming and the screaming when the Irish are debating. Up springs the secretary on his face a scornful frown. Please suspend the standing orders, I won't take this lying down. My honour it has been impeached, my name now bears a slur, by virtue ipso facto of that sleeving little cur. So, Mr. Chairman, if you please, I insist we call a quorum. I plead my cause before the bar of this great and noble forum. I am slandered, I am vilified, and I've suffered great affront as a consequence of placing trust in that sneaky little Oh, the screeching and the speeching on the mountain fashion's trough. Oh, the roaring and imploring and the fury of the mob. Oh, the skulking and the sulking, and that's the implication as they worsen, oh, the cursing when the Irish are debating. Then the chairman bangs his gavel as he tries to interpose. Order, please, I beg of you, an adjournment I propose. Let us pause to say the Angelus, the chaplain starts to say, and the meeting hall erupts as the praddies holler nay. Order, please, the chairman yells, I demand that you desist. But half of them with pledge pins were being thumped by them half-pissed. Then the chairman bangs the rostrum, these proceedings are a farce. Well, a drunkard grabbed his gavel and shoved it up his arse. Oh, the ranting and the raving and some members in the huffs. The hushing and the pushing and the sudden fisticuffs. Oh, the bumping and the thumping and the slagging and the slating and the kicking and wound licking when the Irish are debating. Then the ladies' subcommittee began to scream and bawl, and the members in the body streamed from the strife-torn hall. They are lacking in decorum, quotes a dowager clearly huffed, and the chaplain limping past her mutters, oh, get stuffed. Good Reverend Sir, she cried aghast, I can't abide these squalls. And lifting up her ancient gamp, she jabbed him in the overall. And as he slithered to the floor and touched his aching scrotum, the other ladies with their gamps all gathered round and smote him. Oh, gouge and groping up the pop, oh, spite and bitter spleen. Oh, the memory of King Billy, oh, the orange, white and green. Oh, the belting and the button and the heart of palpitation and the punching and the crunching when the Irish are debating. Meanwhile, the hapless chairman was suspended by the ears and dangling far above the throng from the central chandeliers, while the half-mad secretary had to tell her by the throttle till someone from the balcony hit him with an empty bottle. And thus he dropped a cigarette on the paper-littered floor, and the smouldering ash soon made a flame that crept out towards the door. And as the place was warming up, some member did propose sending for the fire brigade. Have we a seconder for hose? Oh, the firing and the siren and that awful congregation. The tattered and the battered and the half-charred congregation. Gushing hoses, broken noses, and the crowd evacuating. Oh, the panic like Titanic when the Irish are debating. Thus, some of us went to jail and others to the Lord, and half a dozen stalwart lads to the emergency ward, where doctors in the surgery sewed up each bloody hymn so that each man might be fighting fit for next year's edgy game. Whereat, at the minutes read of all that did transpire, the quorums and the jorums and the fisticuffs to fire. And how the ladies subcommittee are planning next year's function, and with the chaplain's willing aid have laid on extra unction. Oh, the sorrow and the morrow and no more recrimination. Oh, the hugging and the kissing and the reconciliation. Oh, the triteness and politeness midst the party fun and frolics. Until some loud pull up and shout, Mr. Chairman, you're a bollocks.